Welcome everybody. Now today's video is going to be a little different. It's not going to be about the differences between living in the city and living in a rural area. It's not going to be about the differences in climate between Southern California and here in Michigan. It's basically most of the things that I've talked about. This one's a little more personal. It has to do with what's been going on in my life, and especially over this last day or so. Yesterday I went to meet with the lawyer who was handling my dad's estate, and it was just for the last little bit. It's probably the last time I'm going to have to go see him about this. The estate's been open. We had our court case in November of 2021, to start the probate proceedings, and make me personal representative for his estate, so I could take care of everything, get all the legal stuff transferred. And I had done so with all the vehicles and such, but the title deed to the property was still there, and some tax documents about primary residence and such. And those things I needed him to prepare, and he did, and I went and signed them, dealt with that, and then I took the deed to the Register of Deeds at the county courthouse. And that makes it pretty final. It finalizes the estate for the most part. It's basically everything that needed to be transferred. And that's the thing, it's final. The finality of it just kind of hit me. They both are no longer legal owners of anything. They're gone. I was well aware that they were gone, obviously, but it just sort of made it very real, very final in a legal sense. They're gone. They don't own anything anymore. And it was just sort of sad. I love them both very dearly. I'm so glad for everything that they did for me, the love that they showed for me, the amount of nurturing that they did. They were great parents. They weren't perfect, but they were very good parents. And if you have parents like that, if you have parents that you love, not everybody does. Some people's parents are all gone, like mine. Some people just didn't have very good parents. I've seen the stories. There's some pretty terrible parents out there. And, if that's you, I'm so sorry. I really am. I can't imagine what it must be like. I grew up with loving, nurturing parents, and, to not have that must be terrible. Everybody deserves it. Everybody deserves for their parents to love and nurture them. And, if you didn't get that, I'm so sorry for you. I really am. I can't imagine what it must be like. It's got to be awful. But, if you are like me and you did have parents that you loved and that have loved you back and such, and were deserving of your love, and they're still around, tell them soon, and tell them often. Let them know. They need to know. That's all I can say, is because you're not going to have forever. You just don't. You don't have that. It can go, and it can go quite quickly. Dad went quite quickly. So yeah, tell them. Let them know. They need it. Everybody needs it. Everybody needs to know every so often how much you care about them. And the chances are very good for your parents, especially, that they will go before you. And so just tell them. They need to hear it. But yeah, that's the thing. Now, Dad, on the other hand, Mom stopped being, after she passed, I had gone through, took it on myself to do this because, my dad had just lost the love of his life, the woman that he was married to for 49 and a half years. And so I took it on myself to get everything that was solely in her name, and most of the things that were jointly in their name, I went through and got her name taken off of them. There was a few more things that were still left, they have to go in person or whatever. And we didn't do that until around the time until pretty close to when he was gone. I knew that it was coming at least fairly soon. We thought we might have a little bit more time, might have another year or so, but it didn't work out that way. Yeah. But, and at the same time, we made everything jointly between him and me. So, I don't have to remove him from really anything quite yet. There's a couple things that were still in just his name. Car insurance was, he was taking care of it. Most of the vehicles were basically all owned by him. All titled under his name. They're all titled under my name now, so when the car insurance renews, which is just a month and a half or something like that, I'll have it either the policy change to my name or just cancel the old policy and put in a new one under my name. And there was at least one more thing that we were under contract for a couple of years, so that will last until that contract runs out later this year, and then it'll be changed to my name too. Then there's a couple more things that are still under both of our names, but I'm not in any specific hurry to get rid of them. Once I do, that'll be just another final thing. It'll be the end of my dad as a legal entity too, just as my mom is now gone as a legal entity. It's sad, but it's the way of things. Nothing you can really do about it. Anyway, one of those things, the first thing that we actually changed was about a year or so before, when COVID started. Dad started to think about his own mortality. Not surprising with all those people dying. And he had me put on the bank accounts with him, make it easier to transfer it once he was gone. And it was helpful, so it worked out quite well. But they tell you to leave a deceased person's name on a bank account for at least a year, just in case checks come in, and one did. So it was useful to leave his name on that. But in that same amount of time, I ran out of checks. So it just so happened to be that way. So I got a whole new batch of checks with both of our names on them, and at the rate that I use checks, it's they're going to be around for a while. I'm going to have a year. You're going to have many years of checks. I've got like 250 left, and it's probably 10 years worth of checks for me at this point. I use debit card and credit card for things. I use a check to pay the credit card. Don't have to. You could have that direct withdrawn too, but I like to do that one check at least a month, and I use it for things that are not monthly. Things that are like once a year or twice a year or something like that. I use checks for those things too. But they're archaic. Paper checks are archaic. Personal check. The thing is, we use the term "went the way of the dodo" for things that are out of date and gone. And the personal check actually existed when the dodo was still around. We had not yet hunted it into extinction when they came up with the idea of the personal check. So yeah, something that was around when the dodo was still here probably should be going the way of the dodo, but we cling to it, mostly in America. From what I've heard, most of the rest of the world does not use personal checks, like, practically at all. So, yeah, it's just a thing here. But, yeah, so I'm going to have his name on my checks for quite some time. Probably 10 years or so. This is the way it is. It's actually kind of nice. It's nice to see his name still sitting there. So, kind of cool. But, yeah. This is how it is. Anyway, that's about all there is to say about that little personal thing. Maybe the weather will actually give us some snow, and I can give you demonstrations of what snow's like, what it's like, the different textures of it and stuff, and how to shovel it off. It hasn't been such a great thing this year. It hasn't been doing it for us, but we are supposed to get a storm this week, so maybe it'll happen then. Who knows? Anyway, that's about it. I thank you all for watching. Still all that stuff you can do at the bottom, if you so desire. And I hope you all have the best possible day that you can have. And I will see you soon. Take care.